everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Deconstruction Junction podcast, sponsored by Love and Action Network. I'm Dr. Flo, not telling you what I heard, what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your days. I am a dream architect that helps people build towards their happy, healthy, and joyful futures. If you're interested in working with me, you can go to lovedandlovable.org, askdrflo.com, or lovecityarts.net. I would love to help you build your wildest imagination. I'm joined every week by Tara Parolo Studio in Minnesota. She's going to introduce herself and kick off today's pod. It's a joy to see you all here and also to share with you, Tara.
Hello, folks. As Dr. Flo said, I am Tara Priolo. I am your resident Black, multi-passionate musician. I talk about the ish that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same. Oh, that was the really old one. I help make the intangible tangible and release the entanglements that you've placed upon your voice so we can all get free. Yeah, baby. While Dr. Flo is sharing this out, if you are interested, I am, in case anyone's wondering, and in case anybody's counting, it couldn't be me. I only have 26 days or less until this baby comes out of me. So we need a sub, and your name can be here if you would like to practice beforehand. If you'd like to deconstruct public and live, or you have a story about your own deconstruction, you like to keep up with the news, if you're that type of person, cool. Then fill out an intake form or DM Dr. Flo or I, and we will get you onto the podcast as a guest. We do have upcoming a guest, Chad Nails, not for Deconstruction Junction, but will be on the podcast. The live taping, I believe, is June 15th, and you can check that out also by going to the website, and you can RSVP to that event if you want to see what it's like outside of the two of us who have been doing this for however many Deconstruction Junction episodes we have had, which I think is well over 2 years worth of content. So that is that. I don't think I missed anything. Oh, if you're interested also in being a spotlight in action, if you're interested in networking and being put on the pod in that way in short increments, you can come on by this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern over on the Clubby House. That's where we record that one. Okay, I think I got all the podcast business out of the way.
Great. And for clarification, we're not in desperate need of podcast hosts to fill her maternity leave. We've got podcast guests for the next 3 years. You're going to be introduced to those very, very shortly. So it's going to be great. Green grass grows all around. You're up first.
All right. So Delaney Concentration Camp. I'm calling it that. It's sometimes called Delaney Hall or Delaney Detention Center. And it's kind of bad. They're on day 11 of a hunger strike there because of the inhumane conditions that are being led by ICE and DHS. And there have also been protests outside. There's been protests outside for the last year plus, but there has been an escalation in said protests over the last 7 or so days since the hunger strike began. There are also now across the country in different detention centers / concentration camps. There's like over 1,000 people participating in hunger and labor strikes. So essentially, like, this is just, it's another epicenter like Minnesota was. If you click next, there is a couple of things. I do believe there's a picture of one of the protests. And then just like an update on where we are with this. So this week, at the beginning of the week and over the weekend, the governor of New Jersey, that's where this is, was basically using state police, like sent in state police and set up quote unquote free speech zones. And basically we all know how this goes. Police always turn on the protesters, and they did mass arrests, et cetera, instated a curfew. Then yesterday, I do believe, Mayor Ross Baraka, who is the mayor of New York, he basically split with the state and said, nope, local cops are going to deal with this. And more turkey. Okay, we can have more turkey. And so he said that the Newark police were going to take care of it. And it did appear that yesterday the protest was able to be kept peaceful because the police weren't attacking people. And he said that the police tactics were unconstitutional, which was a great thing to hear. I've heard conflicting reports a bit on how last night went, but today, and I haven't checked because I've been out of the house, but today was the first day that the unit that started the hunger strike, 2A and 2B, are allowed to have visitors only for 30 minutes. And Ross Baraka is trying to expand the lawsuits to get this center completely shut down. So that's kind of where it's at right now. All eyes on Delaney, as we say. And yeah, just another way to try to quiet the people, right? No. There you go. No.
But Delaney's just one of many, right?
Right. It's an intricate network. I think somewhere, if you go in my Threads reposts, you'll see like this network of detention centers. Because like we've all heard of Dilly, right? That's where the kids are being kept. But also this week, like the pregnant girls who ICE says they had nothing to do with, but there's like girls as young as 12 and 13 that are preggy somehow, some way in ICE detention, who were initially moved to Texas. Now nobody knows where they are. Nobody knows where those girls are, and nobody knows where the newborns are. So
sick and twisted.
Yeah, abolish ICE. That's what I got.
Sick and twisted. Speaking of which, the Christian A. Smith over on Threads 3 minutes ago said, demonizing Q plus people by comparing them to pedophiles while you actively ignore the Epstein files is a choice.
It's a real one.
Y'all some predators. We see you.
Agreed. Still hasn't been a drag queen. Have you heard of any drag queen or trans stories, groping? You sent me a video yesterday, 2 days ago. It was in some chat somewhere of a quote unquote homeless man groping a woman who was filming a video. Right. Still wasn't a drag queen, still wasn't a trans person, like still wasn't a gay person. It happened in broad daylight. Like, come on, folks.
But y'all don't want us to have Pride Month, even though we should be very, very proud of not being bullies and predators and weirdos like y'all.
Wild. So this is another, sorry y'all, this is another depressing, it's a depressing story. And I don't know how much you've heard about this. I did not know about this until this moment, but it explains what I was talking to you about yesterday. You know how I read that thread to you that was like, let's boycott all Asian American businesses? I was like, what is this about? It's about this. So Cyrus Carmack Belton was murdered in 2023 by a Asian American shop owner who apparently has a documented history of utilizing guns against Black people. His business is in a predominantly Black area. And he shot this young man, not even a young man, a child. He was 14, shot him in the back as he was running away. And the reason that this has come back up in the news is because he was let off a couple of days ago. I don't even remember his name, and I try not to dignify murderers' names when I'm talking about people, because I would rather remember and talk about the way that the person was living. So yeah, that, and I think I have one thread on this maybe. And so there's been protests in South Carolina, and basically the same thing, that police have turned on the protesters and there's been mass arrests, et cetera, et cetera. But this is the ICE detention stuff is getting a little bit more traction. So this says from Pedro Paro 2, trigger warning, anti-Black racism, gun death, and Cyrus Carmack Belton. Today, the shopkeeper who shot and killed 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton was determined not guilty by a South Carolina jury. It's highly reminiscent of the killing of 15-year-old Latasha Harlins in 1991 that fueled the LA riots targeting LA Koreatown. Another Black child accused of shoplifting and killed by an Asian shopkeeper working in a majority Black area who was given a slap on the wrist by the courts. Rest in power, Cyrus. And then I think mayhaps there's one more slide here, and if there's not, then that's cool. I don't think there is. No. So essentially, like, somebody yesterday on Threads, like I was saying, was like, let's boycott all Asian American businesses, and the Black versus Asian debate has been reignited. Which racism is worse? How can we attack each other? And there's certainly, that goes deep in people. I'm not sure it's the most effective way to remember this young man who did not deserve to die, right? So, yeah, that's what I got. Rest in power, Cyrus. And those are the protests happening around the country currently.
Oh, wild. Socially Yours Collective says on Threads, the strongest communities aren't built around content. They are built around shared experiences. Once again, 24 minutes ago, the strongest communities aren't built around content. They're built around shared experiences. I had a wonderful call this morning with a young woman in India who wants to spread light and love to the planet and sees Love in Action Network as a vehicle to do that. And we shared experiences of working in architecture and engineering firms. We shared experiences of being told that we're supposed to be silent in the society or bullied by our peers in the society, and resisting and still doing what we're called to do. We shared about the resistance that it takes to be free emotionally, spiritually in the society, and comeback stories. And she's on her second partner as well, all the way in India, Meenakshi. And I asked her at the end of our interview, was she selling any services? Was she promoting any products? Was there anything that she wanted to lift financially as it related to her participation in the podcast and the programs? She said, no, I'm here just simply to be love and to encourage people as a part of your network from India. And I thought that was great, that we not only got to share our experiences, but build and bridge from the United States into India, the work that we're doing here within the network. So once again, we get caught up in reels and content and showing our faces online and being impressive to people. What people really want to do is to gather and to share their stories and to encourage people to keep hope, faith, and love in their hearts. And so I have deep, deep resonance with that.
Okay, clearly I'm on the political side of my algorithm today. So there were some primaries that happened over the last, 2 weeks or so. And there was one last night in New Mexico. There was some other news, like the California governor's primary, Democratic primary. The only thing I heard from that was that Katie Porter placed fifth, which was kind of wild. But anyway, in New Mexico, we may get, which is a very Democratic, very blue state, for anybody that doesn't know, we may get our first Native American governor ever in any state across the country. And her name is Deb Haaland. And so she won last night. And it is, like I said, if elected, she will make history as the nation's first Native American governor. And I just wanted to lift that as like a positive direction that's happening. It's no shocker to me that it's happening in New Mexico. And yeah, we'll have to see in the fall how that plays out. But I think that's what? Oh, hi to Flo. Okay, good job. Thank you. Yeah, so that's my little bit of good news, not so dark and dank. Thank you, Piper.
When you think about all of the hurdles that people have had to go through to become the first of anything, the first thing I think is congratulations to this woman. The second thing I think is imagine the amount of assholes and crazy people she's had to endure to get there.
Well, and like overcoming the whole, like we brought it up on this podcast before, but there is a whole situation on reservations of Native women being murdered. Like just even to like survive long enough to get to this point is, you know, because not only is there Black genocide happening, right, a genocide against Black people, but of course the white folks have been perpetrating a genocide against the Native Americans since they literally landed here, right? So like this is an impressive feat. It's not necessarily something that I am interested. Like I don't think I want to go into politics. I used to think I did, but kudos to her, and she's beautiful, and she looks very regal, and I will be excited to hear of her policies. We have a similar situation here in Minnesota. Our Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, who is Native, is running for the U.S. Senate seat that is open. So that's going to be opened by Amy Klobuchar, who's also the only Democrat running for the Democratic governor nomination here, which is really just annoying. But we don't need to talk about Amy. It's a Band-Aid.
Heading back over to Threads. Let's hit the casino button and see what they're going to shoot out here. Over on Threads, Linux Saint, who is a social media quote-unquote guru that I follow, says write 1,000 posts, reply 10,000 times, make 100 threads, help 10 people win. That's the Threads growth strategy nobody wants because it sounds too simple. And I mean, that's a social media, that's just the general social media strategy that people don't want to talk about. Like if you intend to win on social media, you're going to have to post, you're going to have to talk to people, you're going to have to make friends and play nice in the sandbox, and you're going to have to help people. And the fact that I'm still encountering artists and creatives and visionaries and business leaders who don't want to deal with people, like if you're out there and you're listening to this podcast today and you are a emerging or existing entrepreneur or leader who doesn't want to meet new people, or you don't want to talk to people, or you're doing that thing that I did for years of saying that people got on my nerves and people annoyed me. If you're one of those people who gets annoyed by other people, it's going to be very, very hard for you to grow, because people are the bridge to everything we want. I teach here in my practice that most of us, not all of us, because it depends, but most of us want great sex, great food, great adventures, and the great rest that comes from having a great income. Unless you've got some kind of alien spaceship that's delivering that onto your lawn for you to pick up every day, you're going to have to meet someone that can connect you to those things. And yes, it is 1,000 posts. You know, sometimes people around you will try to be like, oh, you know, you've got 6,000 followers or bots on Instagram. Like, why do you have 6,000 followers and I don't? Well, if you look at the post count, I've posted over 10,000 posts. This includes before automation and things like that took hold of my life and I learned how to do it. I was doing pictures of my food, of my life, videos.
Cat videos in North Carolina.
It's all in there. I've been present to the connection. And that's why we're starting to win here in Love and Action Network, because it's been 9 years plus of me doing outreach efforts. And eventually, no matter how long it takes, the bamboo will come up. The pineapples will eventually grow. The watermelons will eventually come ready to harvest. But sitting around saying, why isn't anybody picking me, or I'm not getting any engagement, or someone the other day was talking about their like follower to comment ratio and all that sorts of stuff. Like, you are the engagement. You are the person who says Marco and then people say Polo to you. But yes, 1,000 posts, 10,000 replies, 100 friends or thread friends, and helping 10 people win is how you're actually going to thrive in your business. And a small percentage of those people are going to pay you to help them increase. That is the game. Every time I tried to resist it, I ended up becoming an addict, just so that I wouldn't have to engage the fact that people are part of the equation, and learning how to love yourself and honor yourself in relationship to people and protecting your boundaries. The podcast, one episode before this, for those of you who are on Spotify, the episode that came out this morning is all about codependency and how to not lose yourself while serving people. And I thought that I had to deny myself and erase myself, called self erasure in Codependence Anonymous and the People Pleasers Anonymous materials that we run here. I thought that I had to erase myself or deny myself in order to serve people. No, become bigger, do more, say more, express yourself more. That's going to build bridges all the way to India. She is meeting with me at 9:45 at night to record podcasts and content in order to encourage, equip, and empower people here in the network. I'm thrilled about it. Someone who will stay up till 9 o'clock at night in India just to come on and partner with us. That's the kind of energy that we want to attract. And the only way to attract it is by putting ourselves out there. Of the 96 plus, I think I do 150 posts a day. 150 posts a day. One of those struck a chord in India and created these circumstances and conditions for us to bridge. So you're going to have to throw a lot of bait in the water in order to catch the fish. And I think it's worth it.
Sorry, I kept missing the mute button. Yeah, I mean, I think that's that. Yeah, and it. Okay, some of y'all don't get the interviews and the auditions and the shows in your IRL life because you also refuse to post and to be with people as Flo says, where you are and how you are in one area of your life, you probably are in the rest. So if you're refusing to go to an audition, right, or you're refusing to put yourself out there to get booked for the audition, which is very similar to posting online. Like y'all think that online is so different from IRL, and there's people that are like, yeah, the community only exists IRL. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Online is a mirror of what's happening in real life. So yeah, and it doesn't really matter how long it takes you to put out the 10,000 posts, but put out the 10,000 posts because you have something to say. And that's the whole battle. Like that is the part of I think when I'm working in branding and when I'm working in social media is convincing people that they have enough to say, right, for those 10,000 posts, or that they have the ability to say it and the confidence to say it. That's just such a big thing. So yeah, I at first I was like 10,000 is a big number, but then I was like, if we look at all of the platforms, like a lot of us that are posting consistently probably have near that if we've been taking social media seriously for a number of years. So now it's just getting into the comment sections and actually meeting people and talking to people. If you're a person that restricts your comment section, you're going to have a hard time building community on any platform. But who am I?
Open and closed heart postures. And not only is social media a mirror, but it's also extremely efficient. For you people who are so tired and worn out, and your kids are tiring you out, and your bosses are tiring you out, and your family's tiring you out, and you got 5,000 tasks and not enough time in the day, and you're just so worn out, keystrokes and voice memos are way easier than driving across town and knocking on doors.
Do you know how long it would take you to get to India? How long is that flight from where you are to India?
The internet knows how long.
The internet knows.
How long is a flight from Savannah to Mumbai?
Mumbai. I didn't know that was in India.
A flight from Savannah, SAV, to Mumbai, BOM, typically takes 21 to 24 hours on average. Because there are no direct flights for this route, the total travel time depends heavily on your airline, layover duration, and connection city.
That's a long
the
time.
fastest options would usually be 1 or 2 layovers in cities like New York, Newark, or major European hubs like London or Frankfurt, where I can travel on United, Lufthansa, or my favorite, Delta.
Delta, baby. I would want to go to Frankfurt. I've never been to Frankfurt. I would want my layover to be there.
I have an aversion to Germans, but I have my reasons, so I'll pass.
They have a really cool, there's like one town that I would go back to in Germany. The rest of Germany, I'm kind of like, but yeah.
To all the Germans who are in my inbox and my emails trying to tell me who I am and what I represent and who I resemble, I'm calling for ceasefire. And I'm calling for ceasefire there and also in my mind and in my heart and in my energy. For those of you who think that I'm not present enough to you in the DMs, even though I just met you day before yesterday in our recruitment efforts here in the network, I'm calling on a ceasefire for you as well. People don't owe you anything, but there are people out there who will meet your need. And I hope you find it, especially if you're rude to people who run organizations that want to encourage and help you. What are you calling a ceasefire to, Praola?
Police brutality and the bombs falling. I mean, we didn't even talk about today because we're moving pretty quick. Iran bombed some embassies in Kuwait. So like the bombs haven't stopped falling, y'all. It's just not in the news anymore. That happened literally last night. So I'm calling ceasefire around the world on that. And I'm calling ceasefire on the way that we treat ourselves. A lot of us overwork ourselves. A lot of us push ourselves to the limit. And I think we're doing enough, you know? We can always do more, but whatever we get done is enough. So
Yeah, calling a ceasefire on toxic masculine power that drops bombs, and also ceasefire. I can't do anything about this because if it bleeds, it leads. But I'm calling a ceasefire on like bad news. Like I know that awful things are happening, but I'm trying to internalize and bring into my life more uplifted, positive messages and vibrations without ignoring reality, right? I don't want to put my head in the sand and pretend like things are not as awful as they can be. And I'm calling a ceasefire on the preoccupation with the negative and the preoccupation with the tragedy. I know it's very sticky and salty and sweet to people to ingest that, but you know, the cockroach that crawled across my neck last night as an omen for negativity in my life, according to some traditions,
Not mine,
would I'm sorry.
I said not mine. I'd just burn the bug. You know, my
He's no longer here. He's no longer on this side. Hopefully, if he were a good cockroach in this life, he's going to elevate and become maybe a bird or maybe
maybe a butterfly.
a butterfly, maybe a squirrel. I mean, if he keeps doing what some traditions would like him to do, he's going to continue to ascend, and then maybe he'll become one of us who has internet bills and phone bills and utility bills. He'll
Right.
get there. He'll get there. Um, but yeah, he has been fired and he has ceased. We have free private memberships that are available to you all. Some of you act like you can't afford free, but free is still available to you. You just got to fill out the intakes and do your interviews and come on in peace. Sign your membership agreements, all free. People ask me every day, how much is it to work with you? How much is it to be in the network? This isn't going to charge me anything, is it? You're not going to charge me for the call, are you? No, I'm not going to charge you for the call. If you need services, you're going to pay for those services at some point, because who's out here being as talented and as awesome as we are working for free? Nobody, nobody, nobody. But to get started with us and to get what you need and to get supported in a way that doesn't overextend us, but handles what you are going through. Those are free private memberships. We also have daily peer support that happens. I do an AM activation and PM reflection most days on TikTok. I'm during my feeding trough times. And so you're more than welcome to stop by with that. We did a whole Codependence Anonymous meeting this morning before my first meeting in India, and it was wonderful. So daily peer support happens. You can also get onto our RSVP system on Partiful and get text messages delivered to you to remind you to bring it into the network as often as you can. I also have affordable premium services. My vocal lessons went up by $40 overnight because I tried to sell them to you for $25, and apparently that's too low for everyone. So we're going to put it a little higher on the shelf and work a little bit easier, and call in people who are honest, open, willing, and available to coach and have themselves come across into the world as professional as they want to be. That service, our spiritual coaching, our business coaching, our done for you services, and all that's available over through a link at lovedandlovable.org and our link tree at lovedandlovable.bio.link. Web resources are also there for free. Emotional guidance scale, emotions wheels, uh, loving treatment. There's a bunch of resources that are there. And in fact, we're working with a clinical psychologist who's going to come in and help us work on mental health resources for the community. Those will also be available on the website as well as soon as we get them developed with Dr. Vanessa, who I'm very excited to introduce the community to. I'm also hiring for DJs and musicians and dancers and singers and choreographers for Dr. Full and the Love Experience. The music is amazing. I cannot wait for you all to see this music staged and to see it choreographed and to see it lit and the projection and all that. And we need people, as we talked about earlier, to lift dreams. And so if you are as honest, open, willing, available as the young lady was this morning in Mumbai, then come on in. I would love to create something magical with you for the time that we have left here on the planet before we awaken and ascend once and for all. Tara's going to do some announcements while I go and water the flowers.
Yes, I will. And then when he gets back, I'll show you all Piper's dance moves to some of the music from Flo's album and also the show. I'm going to sneeze really quick. Hold on, y'all. Okay, excuse me. All right, I think I said it at the top, but I am literally 26 days out from a C-section to get this honker of a baby out of me. So that means there's a lot of stuff still going to happen in July and August, but I am of course going to not be as like face forward. Okay, give me a second, baby. So things happening. I have async lessons. I have membership community that will still go into July and August. Those are the people that I am supporting. Hybrid and private lessons will be coming back in September and October. So that's the timeline there. There also may be a liberated voice practice teacher space that will be coming, and you'll hear about that on my Instagram as well as my Substack. You can find all of those links at tarapriolo.com/links. I also have my I Dream a World album. I am working to get that album to $1,000 and 500 listens. We're about 10% of the way there on each of those tasks. So would love for you to go to tarapriolo.bandcamp.com and see what is over there. And if you would like to find out more about the spirituals, that album actually has, it's majority spirituals, arrangements of spirituals. So if you're interested in finding out more about spirituals and or how they can be utilized on the classical stage, you can come to the Negro Spiritual Intensive. The wait list is open right now. The wait list has gotten special discount codes that either get you in the door for free or get an amount off. And it's already a discounted price from what will be going public on Monday, which is June 8th. The I Dream a World archive project is going on Threads as well as Instagram. You just get to answer some prompts, and I will eventually put all of those together so we can see what we're dreaming of together forever. You'll be in my heart and I will hang you. If you're interested in voice lessons or the liberated voice practice, please try to get a trial in prior to when I go on maternity leave. Otherwise, I'm going to have a little bit of an issue. So you have 26 days to do that. You get either to trial async lessons for a week, or you can just come in for a 1-to-1 30-minute meeting with me. And here's Piper's latest dance move to Lighthouse that Flo plays on his TikToks. So it's very popular. It's the one arm dance move every time it comes on. And so it's Priolo approved.
I am so thrilled. I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled for the love. A positive review from Piper means that kids of all ages and adults who are kids inside of all ages will be in the aisles loving it. I love Lighthouse. It's one of my favorite ones. I'm sure that I'm going to have a blast performing it when the time comes. What are your closing thoughts for today, Priolo? What are you leaving the people with?
I'm leaving you with that you can have a worthwhile discussion in short periods of time, and you can find friends, and you can talk to people, and you can do all the things that you're dreaming. And sometimes you just need a little support. It doesn't have to be us, but find somebody. That's my closing thought.
My closing thought is, I can't tell any of you what to do, but be careful.
Oh.
Do your best to ensure that your heart and your head is a yes to what you say that you really want. I'm encountering a lot of people in this stage of the network who are saying that they want their dreams and saying that they want magic in their lives and saying that they want to connect with people and that they want their lives to be vastly different than it's been. But once you start working with them or clocking their behaviors, you see that they actually are a no to the things that they want to say yes to.
Yeah, and I would say I think there's a little bit of disentanglement that happens in that discussion because a lot of people are looking at other people in the world and seeing Piper's waving at you all for those of you that aren't on a video platform. That was that hand. I did not grow a third hand. That's just my child's little hand. And I'll be quick about this. Anyway, I do think that there is a segment of the population that looks at other people, determines that they're successful, and then decides that they're going to do that or decides that that thing is their dream. And so you're saying yes to a dream that's not yours, right? Because you think it's going to get you the fastest way to money. And it's okay if your dream is money. It's okay if your dream is a bigger house. It's okay if your dream is getting out of the car that you're sleeping in. That's okay. Right? But just know that the way of getting there does not have to look like Gary Vee. It doesn't have to look like Tony Robbins. It doesn't have to look like Flo. It doesn't have to look like me. Find your dream and say yes to that. Stop saying yes to things, to lives you don't want, to quote AMB. That's my mini speech.
Yes, you can have everything you want in this life if you're willing to apply your time, talent, and treasure to it and get out of your own way. And over the last year in my sobriety, I think next month it's going to be a full year of being off the stuff, including disempowered thoughts. I can look back and see all of the times that I was saying yes with my mouth, but my heart and my head was going in a different direction. Do not plague yourself. Find alignment.
We just lost your audio. I think you might. Hi.
With yourself. You can get a podcast done in under 41 minutes if you want to. You know, you don't have to be stressed out in your life if you don't want to be. There are two ways to align yourself to your dream, either in a pleasant vibration or a unpleasant vibration. It is yours to choose, and I hope that you choose lifted, lighthearted, and joyful energy today. And these days, I'm finding joy at the bottom of my coffee cup again. This whole podcast has been sponsored by Dunkin', and
when I tell you my lavender simple syrup that I made my dang self, as Justin Bieber says, everything hallelujah. Okay, everything hallelujah.
Everything hallelujah. On that note, y'all, thanks so much for watching. We've had a blast chilling with you and sharing with you today. She's Tara Priolo Studio, TARAPRIOLO Studio on all platforms. And I'm Ask Dr. Flo, everywhere on the web where you source your joy. On behalf of everyone in the network, our leadership team, and our donors and our sponsors and our members and friends throughout the globe, we invite you as always to stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and lovable. And we'll see you very, very soon.